Welcome in, everybody, to the PHNX Suns Show. I'm Lindsay. That's Gerald. That's Flex. That's Espo. Guys, how you doing today?
Just another day in Suns paradise.
Chilling. Got the shades back on, trying to switch the mojo. A little juju change here.
This is exactly where I expected us to be in January. The vibes are immaculate. Yeah, it's just great.
Good times.
So many shenanigans happening around the Suns right now, and we're here to talk about all of them. First and foremost, the biggest news of the day. Kevin Durant decided to speak for himself. He is officially tired of the shenanigans about people talking about he wants to be traded. He's going to ask for or ask to be traded. He's unhappy.
Frustrated.
His body language, this, that, and the other. And Kevin Durant flat out said, listen, I don't want to get traded. I'm not frustrated because Brad was injured. I wasn't frustrated because of the role players on the team. That shit really was ignorant to me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, we lose a game. You think I'm supposed to be happy after we lose a game? You know what I'm saying? I'm not frustrated with the whole situation. I may be frustrated at the moment, at a bad play or a tough stretch, but nah, I enjoy the grind.
It's really gratifying to hear KD say what we've been saying on this show for weeks now, in terms of, like, of course he's frustrated. That's obvious. Like, when you're losing games, you're going to be frustrated. It'd be more concerning to us if he wasn't frustrated, because then that means that he's completely given up. But KD's very much been on the same page. He's been saying, you know, like, it's not, the frustration level is not the focus here. We're trying to put stuff to film. We're trying to just get reps together so we can build on these things and so we can get better, because in losses, there's a lot of lessons, and that's how you build toward wins. So it's kind of nice to hear him come out and just address it head on.
Yeah, I mean, we've been, like you said, we've been saying it for weeks. It's basketball, right? I'm frustrated. You're frustrated. Lindsay's frustrated. I've been I haven't gone to Espo for a trade request yet, but I'm frustrated doing this damn thing.
Sources close to the situation tell me that's not true. So.
Yeah, I mean, they're basketball players. They're the best in the world for a reason, Gerald. They're super competitive. They want to win at everything they do. And so I never got this. I mean, of course he's frustrated. And like Gerald said, I would be angry if he wasn't frustrated, because then that's the type of guy you don't want in your organization. But they're all frustrated. So whole bunch of nothing. Thank you, Kevin, for clearing that up and putting that to bed.
Well, he goes on later in the article and it brings up, I think, a good point that there's very much a storyline driven thing when it comes to him. There's a narrative out there that people don't want to back off of for whatever reason. This is what they want Kevin Durant to appear as. Not that he's like I think he said a hoophead, or basically a guy addicted to the game, but rather a malcontent. And that's just the brush he's been painted with. So anytime anything comes out, that's the direction people go in. And it's not fair to him, because he's gone out there and he's done everything on the court the way everybody wants him to. He's an all-time great. And honestly, when you look at it, people discredit him for the Warriors thing, but people misremember. It's that Bernstein kind of thing where they think he asked for a trade. He was a free agent. Right. He went there of his own volition, which is part of the collective bargaining agreement. They have the right to do that, right? And then, sure, he got frustrated in Brooklyn, but that was in part because Kyrie forced his way out and the whole situation changed. So I think there's a narrative that's driven, and we talked about it on about the Christmas Day thing. ESPN had that game. It was the least interesting of their slate. So bringing up something that stirred up a little controversy was good for business. And the way Woj said it, he knew, I won't say he knew, I assume it was looked at as, well, people can take this however they want. It was vague enough where it's like, let other people run with it. We're going to report this, but sure, the storyline that usually happens may appear with Kevin Durant.
And that's the thing that people misconstrued with that too, is the only bit of reporting in what Woj said was that, you know, sources tell me that Kevin Durant is frustrated. And from then on, all of the things that he said were Woj's own interpretation of the situation. They weren't from Kevin Durant directly, or even from the people that KD had talked to about that frustration, which again was natural at that point in time. So you're right. Like, people lean into this narrative because they have this view of Kevin Durant that's pretty unfair, to be honest. Like, I'm sorry, but if I was in his shoes in Brooklyn, I would have wanted a trade out of that situation too. I'm not trying to waste what's left of my prime, you know, with Harden forcing his way out and then Kyrie being a knucklehead the whole time. Like, that, you can't help that situation. You can say what you want about him joining the Warriors, whatever. If you don't like watching fun basketball, I get it. But I feel like there's this misperception, and you nailed it. Like he said, people don't talk about me as a student of the game. They don't talk about how I'm a good teammate or how I love the game. They talk about how I'm miserable, I'm insecure, I'm a bad teammate, all this other stuff. And it's really unfair to him, because if you listen to the man actually speak when he answers questions about basketball, you can tell how much he loves it. You can tell how knowledgeable he is about the game, but nobody ever goes for those clips. They have to wait for him to address these stupid rumors and all this other crap for him to be in the headlines.
What bothers me, though, is Pop has an attitude about things, can be kind of gruff. He does it, everybody thinks it's funny. KD has an attitude like that. He's a problem. He's a malcontent. He's this or that. There's a weird double standard in the league about a lot of stuff like that.
Which,
and I'm sorry, go ahead, Lynn.
I just don't understand it. Like, I don't get where all of this kind of came from. Like, how did KD become labeled like that guy?
Well, I think it started with the whole burner thing. Like, that was the first time that people started looking at KD and was like, oh, wow, like he's ultra sensitive or this, that, and the third. That kind of opened it up. And then I honestly think the Golden State thing is where it really shifted. A lot of people had bad feelings about what he did. And I always viewed this as, listen, one, he was a free agent. Two, he went to a team that, although had one of the best seasons ever, they had just lost in the finals. So they weren't coming off a championship. And, you know, I hate the narrative that he went to Golden State and got 2 rings. I saw every damn minute of that run. And I'm going to tell you what, I don't believe Golden State wins those championships without Kevin Durant. I think he was the best player on that team. He was the best player in the finals. And Steph probably doesn't have as many rings as he has without Kevin Durant. So that whole narrative got kind of thrown out of proportion. I think Kevin did what he had to do. He got his 2 rings and he left. People don't want to give him credit for it, and that sucks.
No, they treat him like Gary Payton going to the Lakers. Or Charles Barkley going to the Rockets at the end of their career.
Right.
When this guy made a business decision in his prime and did exactly what he was supposed to do. Go win rings. And so I very much, I think it's not that dissimilar to people who either have a beef with Devin Booker because they didn't think he was going to be anything and he turned into something, or because of the 70-point game. Whatever it is, it's a similar kind of mindset. People just have something that they want to believe, and they find anything to validate that belief.
Well, and the goalposts keep moving with him too, because when he was in OKC, we have these expectations of players that they're always supposed to be loyal to the team that drafted them. They're supposed to stick with the same franchise forever, bring them titles, all this stuff. And that is really cool when it happens.
But it's like, rare.
Yeah, it's rare. And what were we saying the whole time when he was in OKC? We were saying, man, the Thunder really messed up by trading James Harden. Man, they broke a dynasty. Man, Russell Westbrook is holding KD back. Man, like, KD needs to win a ring or we're going to view him in a different light. So what does he do? He joins the best possible situation for him where he can win those rings. He does. And then we're saying, oh, well, this is unfair. It's cheating the system. Like, those rings don't count. And so he leaves and he goes to Brooklyn to try and do something there. And then because his teammates are both like malcontents, he's the one that gets blamed for it somehow. So he goes to another good situation. And every step of the way, Kevin Durant has done something to not directly to counter what's being said about him, but people have changed why they're going to criticize him.
And KD didn't build a big 3 here. He wasn't the one that said, hey, you know what? I'm going to go trade for Bradley Beal.
Yep.
Right.
Those were other people that decided that. So don't hold that against him either.
Right. And you know, it's another thing that people don't talk about enough. The year Kevin Durant went to Golden State, he was a free agent. That was the year that the CBA changed and they had that crazy bump up in TV money.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave teams that would never have enough cap space to do something,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so you're talking about a guy that was probably going to leave OKC anyway. And then all of a sudden, magically, the best team in basketball has enough money to bring you in. Now, everybody that wants to talk, they can talk.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be damned if I'm going to be a free agent and I'm looking at potential destinations and all of a sudden the sexiest, most beautiful destination just opens up and you want me to say no to that? Like, no one would do that. There's no one. I don't think there's a player in basketball that situation will never happen again, though. Well, I don't know. It may happen again, but it was such a rare situation that I think if you take, 99% of the stars in this league and make them free agents, and the best team in basketball has the ability to bring them in, I'm not buying that they're going to pass up because they want to do this or do that. They're going to go there and do the right thing. That's what he did.
Yeah, and if you want to criticize his game and certain things, I mean, you're nuts, but I'm all for it. That's fair. That's what you sign up for when you're out there as an athlete. You want to question, can he get it done as 1A, as the main leader? Fine, but this other stuff, give the guy a damn break with it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, I've even criticized him this year because, like, he touched on the body language thing from the Christmas Day game. Like, objectively speaking, his body language was not good in that game. Mm-hmm. So was everybody else's.
Right.
And I think for him, part of the leadership is realizing that his body language, the way he reacts to things, has a real effect on the guys around him. But like, he owns up to those types of things. And it's never, when we criticized him, it was never like KD's a bad teammate, like he's ruining the culture here, yada, yada, yada. It was, he's frustrated. They need to work themselves out of this funk and they need to have better body language because it can be infectious with a new group of guys.
Yeah.
100%. And especially when it's somebody at the level of a Kevin Durant, right? Like, look at, who was it? Bobo? Bobo just recently was like, I get to be a teammate with my favorite player growing up.
Yeah.
Like, Book looked up to KD. Like, all of these younger guys on this team look at him as like, you are what I want to be. You are what I've always wanted to be when I was growing up. So it does have an impact on them. And it's things like that where it's like, KD's got to understand how big of a name and just being he is within the space.
Can I just, one last thing, you just brought something up that kind of made me think of something. When they were doing that little round table interview, Brad Beal, Book, and KD, they asked him for his Mount Rushmore.
Mm-hmm.
And he said Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, and then he stopped and he paused, sat there for a minute, and Devin Booker had to say, you, bro, Kevin Durant, bro. Like, so... Again, that's a guy, he could have easily been one of those guys and said, Mike, Kobe, LeBron, me. Mm-hmm. He didn't do that. And so you got guys like Devin Booker. That's the part that I think is something I want to talk about later on. But, I think that's part of the adjustment, guys.
Okay.
It's, how hard it is to play with your favorite player? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know how intimidating it's got to be as a role player to sit there and play with Kevin Durant.
But on the flip side, Brian brings up a good point in the chat, said, imagine playing with your childhood hero and not stepping up when it matters. Shame on this lazy squad.
Man.
If you're on the same team as a guy like Kevin Durant, who's somebody you looked up to, wouldn't you want to always put your best foot forward? Yeah. Wouldn't you want to be like, let me do the most right now to show him what I can do?
I think they're trying to, but I think
it's
a lot of pressure. I think it's a lot of pressure to do that.
Could that be part of the problem, though?
Yes.
They're putting all the additional pressure on themselves because they feel like it. I don't know. I don't think that's the case with Book. Book's played very well, but some of these younger bench players, even Yuta came here because in part they liked what his chemistry with KD is. I don't know, but one thing I do know, Eric, we need to cut the clip of Flex saying those three, Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, and me. And no context.
No
I just
context.
did it to myself, though. So now we got two guys saying it.
We're gonna
Okay.
put that sound over a super clip of Flex playing zone.
I do
and pick
like
up.
that.
Yep, exactly.
Tell Emma to create the Mount Rushmore or something and put Flex next to those three guys. That'd be cool
Oh
as
my
hell.
goodness gracious.
Yeah, no, I agree though. It's part of the adjustment, guys. And I also think that some of these role players, when they're in these positions, there's a little bit of mental games going on, Lens. It's like I got this ball here, game's on the line, but I'm standing next to Kevin Durant. Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. That happens in basketball. I've deferred plenty of times to players. I played with McDonald's All-Americans, and there were times where I got the rock, and I'm like, "Go, bro," and that probably wasn't the right play. But it's like, yeah, you're the guy on the on the news every night, and I'm the guy trying to be you. So yeah, it's weird.
I will say this on the body language thing, though. It doesn't just fall on Kevin Durant.
No.
It's Book and Beal as well, because those three have to set the example, and all three of them have had that sullen look at different times during these struggles. So I don't want to just place that at the feet of Kevin
Right.
Durant.
No, it's not,
I think that's a shared thing.
Yes, absolutely. And I did love from this story that Melissa wrote this quote, because it kind of speaks to what we've been talking about. I love that we're struggling almost because we can learn from it and get better and move forward from it. Obviously, I don't love struggling, but I like finding good things out of winning basketball games. The more film we watch, the more pride we take, the tougher it is, the better we'll become from it. That's my mentality the whole time.
Love it.
It's got to be their
Perfect.
mentality.
Yeah.
Love it.
I mean, that's how you get better. You
I
know what I
love
mean?
it.
You got to take some L's to learn some things and to continue to grow. But shout out to Melissa Rowland, Fox Sports NBA writer, for getting that exclusive with KD and squashing all the rumors that he does not want to be a part of this Phoenix Suns squad, because he absolutely does. Okay, real quick, we're going to do a costume change here. Ready?
There we go.
Take some time to enjoy life, you guys, by checking out our friends over at Michelob ULTRA. Michelob ULTRA, it's got refreshing and balanced flavor, and the best part, only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. Also, Michelob ULTRA has an organic seltzer essential collection, which is made with coconut water and real fruit juices, so you know it's always going to be refreshing and taste delightful. And those only have 90 calories and 0 added sugar. So head on over to MichelobUltra.com to find out how you can win superior NBA prizes and to find a Michelob ULTRA near you. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. And we ask that you please enjoy responsibly.
I don't think it's fair that they say the best part is the lack of carbs, lack
Well,
of calories.
I added that.
Okay,
So
because the
I don't
taste,
think they
the
say
taste
that.
is the
That's
best
just what
part.
I added.
I got to tell you, the Michelob Ultra's taste is the best part.
Yes. But it's like an added bonus, I guess. Next
is
time
true.
I'll say added bonus.
I'm not getting fatter by drinking it. I'm enjoying the taste and being a little bit healthier.
Well, it just means you could maybe have one extra than what you were intending.
Or 4, depending on how you're feeling in a certain day, what Suns games you watch.
Call me crazy. I think the alcohol's the best part.
Good point, man.
And of course, you can find Michelob ULTRA at Circle K. You know our friends over at Circle K are always stocked and loaded with some of the best snacks and drinks you can get your hands on. And they also have a free membership program that you should absolutely join because it saves you money. First and foremost, you save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. They always send out coupons and promo codes, and you can join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit circlek.com for details. All right, we have a couple super chats here that I want to get to. The first one comes from Leo, and they said, "Hey guys, I'm currently getting a Phoenix Suns tattoo."
I really,
Fire
hope,
emoji.
I really hope it's not the Larry O'Brien trophy and the year
Do it.
2024 under it.
Do it.
You should tweet us a picture, Leo.
Do
I
it.
want to see it.
Jason Terry did it, and it worked out for him. Do it.
Hakeem sent us one, and this is their first one ever. So shout out to you. Welcome to the Super Chat family, Hakeem. They said, thanks for all you guys
Hakeem,
do.
what?
Love to listen to actually sane Suns fans talk hoops.
Appreciate that. We try.
On a good day,
On a
anyway.
good day, we're there.
Sometimes we go a little off the rails.
I like to imagine that is Hakeem work, right? Actually, there.
I'm
Well, this is
saying.
Hakeem Warwick.
Oh,
so-
Warwick.
Oh, it's
Totally different.
Warwick.
Never mind.
Okay,
I got
yeah,
it wrong.
okay.
I don't know who Hakeem Warwick is, but
But that's
I'm
their
glad
number
you're
one
their
fan.
number one fan. So
And then Psycho Blue sent us one. Thank you, Psycho Blue. They said, Basketball Cthulhu thinks the big three are that just... Hold on, I can't read that far away. Anybody else want to try and put
Basketball Cthulhu thinks the big three are that just based on how they're paid. And KD could have worded the line about the perceptions around him differently, as he sounded insecure saying it on the record. Man, the guy can't catch a break while saying he can't catch a break.
I feel like when you're asked questions, you answer questions. Like, it's not like he sought Melissa out and was like, you know what? Hold up a mic. I got something to say.
Yeah.
Is it insecure not being frustrated that you're unfairly
it's
categorized?
Okay to
in a
care
way?
what people think about you. There's this idea that you shouldn't care what anyone thinks about you. Sometimes caring about what people thinks about you keeps your ass in line. Like, honestly, there are standards
Steve
here.
Kerr.
That's
Except
a bad
YouTube
thing.
commenters. Nope.
Beyond that, though, like, is there
Yes,
a
Nick
single
Saban.
person in the entire world who genuinely doesn't take it personally sometimes when people say things about them?
Right.
And we're talking about like one person. You're going to tell me that not every single person can remember at least one time in their life where somebody said something 7 years ago and you still think about it to this day. Now double that, not even double that, a bajillion times that, where you're getting it every day on social media and every day
I'm
on
still
the
pissed
national
about-
news, and then wherever else, wherever you go, somebody has something to say about you. That's not going to eventually
Go ahead.
make you feel some type of way.
We work in a sport where one of the favorite memes is, and I took that personally.
Right.
I'm
know.
still pissed about things I heard when I was 19. Like,
God, you can remember that?
I
long
could.
ago?
I actually got, that's like a superpower of mine. I don't forget shit.
There are always those things that just sting a little bit more than the other, and then
Don't get
you'll
me
just
started.
kind of
I'll
be
start
like,
blasting some people out
you'll
here.
be halfway asleep, and then it'll come to you, and you're like, dang it, now I'm gonna sit up for another hour. Just thinking about this is gonna kill my vibes.
It's just one of those things that it's easy to be a backseat driver and be like, well, he should react this way or he should react. No, like, he's a human being. Like, we take it personally when people say mean shit to us in the chat or on Twitter. Like, now imagine
Don't
that
tell 'em
100-fold on Twitter, on every platform. You got national media people talking about you on ESPN. Like,
You got fans saying it to your face sometimes in arenas, or not necessarily to your face, but yelling at you from the crowd. Like, they can hear
it's
that.
different. There's
It is.
levels to this,
It is.
unfortunately.
Big
But
level.
Priscilla in the chat said, yeah, until you realize 99% of criticism is projection, laughing face emoji.
Yeah.
100%, but
Yeah.
also sometimes it still hurts. Even when you know, it's all projection. It's like, but that still hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I'm just going to go over here now.
Stop taking things personally, guys. Jeez.
Gerald did write an amazing article over at gophnx.com today. If you have not read it, check it out. But we're going to dive into some pieces of it here, because we understand that the big three has been a little bit disappointing to most people's standards this year, but that some reps together and a little bit more time could fix a lot of the Suns' problems. And you brought up 2 examples of that. So we'll go ahead and give us the first one.
The 2 examples that can fix the Suns' problems.
No. The reasons why a little bit more time.
The
together.
two
You don't
the
have- as the big
comparisons.
three.
You don't
Gotcha.
have the
Yes.
answers on how to fix this, Gerald?
Whatever.
blacked
I need
it
2
out.
now.
Gerald, you're
Also-
supposed to fix it.
I
I'm
think-
sorry. Let me set that up better then. Gerald
I got
said
you.
that the big three having more time and reps together could potentially help fix some of our issues. There are 2 clear examples of said time helping fix issues. The first being,
The first is the Clippers this season.
There we go.
Like,
Yeah.
literally this season. Like, they started off 0-5. Everyone was clowning them for the Harden trade, saying, "Oh my God, they're ruined. What have they done?" And then since then, they have the second best record in basketball. And part of the reason is because they've gotten a ton of reps together. They played 537 minutes across 25 games overall. That's 400 more minutes than the Suns' big three has gotten. That's 19 more minutes than the Suns' big three has gotten. You could go back to, and I brought this up on the show the other day, the 2020-21 Suns, who had that starting 5 of Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, and DeAndre Ayton. In those first 16 games, they were 8-8. They actually had a negative net rating. They were getting outscored. It got so bad we were wondering, is it time to start Cam Johnson? Do we need to make a move? Is this team not going to work out? And they wound up being one of the best starting 5s or 5-man lineups, period, in basketball that season and the following season as well. but they needed time to work it out. Over those 16 games, they had 200 minutes together. This Suns starting lineup with Grayson Allen and Yusuf Nurkic alongside the big three has had 70 minutes total. That's a third of the time in more than twice as many games. So I understand that patience is wearing thin. I understand that this team should be better than one game above 500. There are very real issues that extend beyond just the big three's availability. But two things can be true at once. They could need more reps together, more than just 6 games, which is really 5 because Bradley Beal left 4.5 minutes into one of them. And there could be issues that extend beyond that. But I guarantee you, on a top-heavy team, having your 3 best players, having your preferred starting lineup available for more than those tiny amounts of minutes would help with some of the issues that we've seen.
Go ahead. Can I piggyback on that? Because
Sure.
I was doing a deep dive yesterday about this very thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we're 19 and 18 and people are starting to panic and it's frustrating for everybody. But, you know, to your point, 6 games, guys. I keep saying it. It's 6 games. To your point, it's actually 5 if you take away the Brad Beal Nick game. The Suns have lost 6 games this year by 6 or less points. 3 of those games were to the Lakers. A combined 11 points to 3 Laker games. They were winning in each of those games in the fourth quarter. Okay?
Are you previewing tomorrow for us? Is that what you're doing?
No, I'm not.
I hope not.
No. But this is, so 6 games under 6 points, 3 games to the Lakers, a combined 11 points between those 3 losses. The Suns could have won every one of those games. They didn't have the big 3 for any, and in some cases, they were missing 2 of the big 3. The first game the big 3 played together in Brooklyn versus Brooklyn, that was the very first game that Brad Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant played together. Okay? You had the San Antonio game where they, you know, the steal at the end, and you had the Memphis game the other night. These are 6 games that you can win. Now, if ifs was fifth, we'd all be drunk. That's what Book says, right? I get it.
Walks like a duck, talks like a duck.
Quacks like a duck. Okay, so that's what you're gonna go with that. Okay. So here's my thing, guys. That 6-game stretch. Let's just say hypothetically the Suns are able to close that. If they had more reps, more continuity, the big 3 was playing, they had a lot more minutes together. You can make an argument that they could win every one of those 6 games. Or maybe even if they go 4-2. But if they won those 6 games, they'd be 26-12. Now, again, this is a lot of what ifs. But as a coach, I had a lot of players that were what I used to call almost players. I would tell them straight to their face, you're an almost player. You almost made that shot. You almost got that rebound. You almost made that steal, right? The Suns are an almost team right now. You almost closed that game. You almost got that big stop at the end. You almost did it. You're falling just short. To me, that's a sign of a team that's very close. They need more reps. They need more continuity, and they'll start to close these games. And if they're able to do that, this can turn around really quick. I still believe in this basketball team and the talent, and I still don't think the sky's falling. I think there's enough evidence to show that if they can just make kind of some little adjustments, this could be an entirely different thing going on.
I don't disagree. And the guys you were talking about, I call them Al Bundys. Guys that think about what could have been and how close they were constantly.
Okay.
Right? And I hope that's not the path this team goes down. But Gerald, to the 2 examples you bring up, well, I agree. A lot of this will come down to more minutes. The 2 examples you brought up had the benefit of multiple guys having played together before. And like Kawhi and Paul George have played together before this year. Booker and DA and McHale had played together before those guys. So I think that was a benefit to both of those. That's not to say that this team can't figure it out. I just think that's a slight difference in looking at them.
It definitely is. But I do think there's a lot, especially with a newcomer. They have more continuity, at least the Clippers do as a team, than the Suns do. They have a lot of role players. But I think that's why the Big Three's lack of minutes is so glaring to me, is because you can't put those role players in their appropriate spots until you have all 3 of those guys out there together. Like, we've been able to evaluate role players individually, and a lot of guys have disappointed, obviously. But when you're going from just Devin Booker tonight to Booker and Beal, to Beal and KD, to KD and Book, to all 3, to one of the 3, to 2 of the 3, like, you're being like thrown all over the place in terms of what your role is. And yeah, you can always defend well. You can always make shots. Those are things role players have to do no matter who's on the court. But in terms of what is expected of you when you're checking into a game, who you're sharing the floor with, when that changes on a night-to-night basis, especially at this level, it is hard to figure that out. And I'm not even sitting here saying that, like, don't worry, guys, if they get more reps together, everything's going to be fine. The Suns are going to win a title. I'm saying we just don't know yet. We just don't have the sample size to say definitively what's going to happen. If a month from now they haven't gotten the reps, or they have gotten the reps and these struggles continue,
different story.
Then we can absolutely make a ruling and say, you know what, this team isn't up to snuff. Whatever they did in the offseason was a mistake, blah, blah, blah. But until we get to that point,
agreed.
I can't make any definitive declarations about this team because we just haven't gotten enough of them at what they're supposed to be.
I am in 100% agreement with you. However, I do think a lot of these ifs are valid, but I think a lot of them are also partly why we feel some type of way about this team this year.
Absolutely.
We as a collective, and some are a little bit more further along than others, right? On the spectrum. But it's like, if we had just one, like, one play away or one call away from winning multiple games, right, Flex? Like, there's a handful of games you could look at, but it's like, but a lot of those were games that even missing the big three, even missing two of the big three were winnable
The
games.
Lakers 3 times.
But like the Spurs
twice,
Portland,
the shorthanded
like,
Grizzlies, Blazers. And that's why I included that in my article, because again, I think two things can be true at once. There are things that the Suns should be better than this.
Yeah.
They should not melt down in fourth quarters, because they have had games where they've had two of the big three available, and in a lot of those games that should have been enough.
Yes.
But at the same time, we know that this team isn't going to win a title without the big three. So why would we evaluate this team from any other lens other than this is what we've seen with the big three? Because guess what? If it comes to the playoffs and one of those three guys is hurt,
It's over.
you're not winning a title.
Yeah,
and
right.
if they are available, then at least we can look at something like during the regular season, this is what we saw when those guys had their real rotation.
Yeah.
Anything else to me is meaningless, because we are in title or bust mode. Like, anything less than that doesn't matter to me.
And I think that's what makes it so hard, right?
Yeah.
Like, we look at the examples you brought up. We're going to look at other examples of big three here in just a minute, but it's like, okay, I talked myself into, we have a short window of time with all these guys to accomplish what the bigger goal, right, of winning a championship here. And now it's like, okay, we start to look at numbers, we start to look at the issues that we're dealing with this season, and it's like, shoot, because my expectations should be lowered for this season, but then also looking ahead, I'm like, but how much lower can I, like, what? You feel like you've been tossed around on a roller coaster, and it's just not an enjoyable experience. So I get the waiting, the patience. I get looking at some of the numbers and giving them time, and you can only evaluate this team when the big three is out there. I just don't think that I was expecting all
What's
of
our
this.
breaking news?
Oh, wow.
Well, the
is
Memphis
it?
Grizzlies have waived Bismack Biyombo.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Hold on. That's what we're
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'll
Yes.
take Busy.
Busy doesn't fix everything. When I heard that and saw screaming
No,
down
you
the
don't
hall, I thought we were getting so and so was traded to the Phoenix
Well, see,
Suns.
we've
Seriously,
already
you
parameters for
just for
trades.
that?
They should be very low. You're in
I'm
a
just
bad
kidding.
place. if you're waiting for a trade.
We're so starved for something. But back to the big three thing, and then we can get into Busy at some
we'll come
point.
back to Busy. We'll come back to Busy.
Well, no, I want to address what you were talking about. I think the problem here is, yes, this team will be better when the big three is all out there, but the problems you see outside of it are what concerns me most. If the big three were playing at peak right now, I still don't think they're the team that we all hoped and thought they'd be, and they're probably still in the conversation for a championship, but not the solid one or two that we thought they'd be, because so many other problems have reared their head. Now, do the big three fix that? Some, I think, not all, but the only way we'll know is to see.
And that's the thing, is like, you could ask 100 different Suns fans, and you would get probably 10 different responses as far as what the biggest problem is. And that's because the truth is they have a lot of different problems. You could go to the defense, you could go to the rim protection, you could go to the fourth quarters, you could go to the point book thing, which a lot of people in the chat were already doing today. You could go to any number, like the role players, you could go to any number of things. And the truth is it's all of it. But the biggest thing is still you've had your best 3 players for 6 games.
6 games.
It's not enough.
Five
Okay,
games.
well, if you can add a big 4 to it with Busy, who are you cutting?
Bring him back.
Okay, but for real, because we are going to continue the conversation here around the big 3 and whatnot. But since we did do the breaking news sounder, which someone in the chat hilariously said I need to lower my expectations for what that breaking news sound means.
I didn't sign up for that to be used for such petty
I
things.
think it was
No
appropriate,
shade at
Eric.
Busy.
You did the right thing.
I'm only kidding. I love me some combo, but the chat's pretty split for the most part. How are we feeling about Busy on this Sun squad?
I love him. I mean, listen, he's
And who are you swapping him out for?
Well, I mean,
I
that's,
suppose if you want him.
let's have a little time to think about that first.
I need 0.3 seconds to think about that.
Okay, but I mean, I'm sorry, but
People aren't going to like it, but
Damian Lee or Bull.
no.
Damn, bro.
Well, look, I'm sorry, but if your goal is to make things better and win a championship, I love Damian Lee. But what are the chances he actually has an impact on that this year?
He can shoot.
He can shoot
has,
the hell out the basketball.
He has one NBA skill and
You know
playoff
what, my pride,
experience.
Espo, you know what I'm starting to learn about you, dog? I love you. I love you.
I'm cutthroat.
But you cutthroat, and like you haven't seen Damian Lee yet. That doesn't mean that he's done, and it doesn't mean that he can't. He was like top 3 in the league last year.
but
And
my
if you
point
look
is
at this team
correct?
too, you need people to knock down open threes. Who can do that better
Damian
than
Lee
Damian
might
Lee?
be right
Listen,
what we need. I mean,
I get that, but we have not. The guy hasn't even practiced yet. Like
And it's January 10th.
Yeah, but you're running out of runway at some point.
I get
Like,
that, but I'm just saying every move that you make should be looking ahead to the playoffs. If we've got to break glass in case of emergency,
That's fair.
Who do we trust to come in? And I'm looking at Damian Lee as the guy who in his very first game in a Suns uniform
won a game.
comes out, hits fourth quarter threes and hits the game winner in a comeback against the Mavs. Was one of the best fourth quarter and corner 3-point shooters in the NBA, just 3-point shooters in the NBA. I love Bol. I love the tantalizing glimpses that we've seen of him recently, but I would put way more trust in Damian Lee to give you even just 5 okay playoff minutes compared to Bol.
I don't want to Abdel Nader this is it where he just is not
gonna
he just
Abdel
shows up in
Nader
the
it.
second round and hasn't played it all. But
That
look,
was one of the wildest things. I've
yeah,
ever
was that not
seen.
that's just in my mind that's what stuck in it.
I
That we're
get
not gonna see Damian Lee and all of a sudden
We did.
second round fighting for your life. It's like, oh, here's Damian Lee.
We did get an update from Dwayne that today on Damian Lee that he's expected to be back before the end of the regular season. So at least it won't be he's making his debut
That is
in the
quite-
Western Conference Finals. Like that was
That is quite the cushion
was
Dwayne gave there.
crazy.
Sometime before the middle of April.
Yeah, well,
I
you
mean,
know
we
what?
can't be beggars can't be choosers. We just want our big 3 to be healthy.
You know
right
what?
now.
Everybody also got all excited about the idea that we're saving Bol until the playoffs so that he is the thing. He's the secret weapon that we're keeping hidden. And we're not going to release him until the playoffs so it changes everything and nobody can prepare for him. Well,
that came from the
why can't
4chans
Damian
of
Lee be
Suns
the same
internet,
thing?
all right? Like that
why
was,
can't we get excited for Damian Lee in the same way?
Look, it doesn't even matter. I mean, it does matter who you cut, obviously, but I do think, like, in regards to Busy himself, I understand the chat's going to make jokes like about Busy hype, we're down bad. Get it? But at the same time, we've been talking for weeks now about how the Suns need a different look at center. They need an athletic, rim protecting, shot blocking center. I think he would help with the vibes in the locker room because Busy, by all rights, is a veteran that everyone around the league respects and likes. He's done wonders on that Grizzlies team. Not a good offensive player, but like you need some athleticism at the center on the nights when Drew Eubanks looks terrible, and you need someone who's experienced and could log minutes for you in a playoff series.
And play with Book and KD last year.
Right, and has some familiarity. He checks all those boxes. So if he's available And if he's interested in coming back, I think you'd be doing a disservice to not at least look into it.
Also, you, Espo, and y'all in the chat are cutthroat as hell.
Look, he's still going to get his money. He's still going to get a chance. Hell, he can come back when he's healthy. If there's a move to make and you can get better, I want to get better. If my mother were on the roster and couldn't contribute, I'd cut her ass right now.
I believe
I love
that
you, Mom.
wholeheartedly. 100% I believe that you would do exactly
You would cut
that.
your mother.
Jeez, blessings to your mother.
Not even a two-way spot for Mom.
No.
They got 3 of them
Mom,
now.
go to the G League and work on your game and then come back, all right? Love you, Mom.
Okay, listen, it's difficult, man. This is so difficult because I'm truly seeing things completely different than a lot of people out there. I mean, I just 5 basketball games from your 3 best players, man. Over 36. I mean, simple math, man. It's 5 games and the role players are being asked to do more things than they were brought here to do. No one's comfortable. Like, not having the big 3 puts everyone out of position. Damn it puts the coaches out of position. Like, the coaches have a plan and they're constantly audibling. And like, okay, we thought we can run this, but shit, we got to run that because this guy's in tonight and that guy's on. It's like, it's just been chaotic. And it blows my mind that people on January 10th are viewing this team as a finished product and already making a determination that they're done. I don't get it, and I'm going to continue to be optimistic, and y'all could call me the most optimistic person on planet Earth, and you could say I ate a whole bag of OGs before the show. Like, I say whatever you want. I'm not changing my stance. I believe in this basketball team, and I think if they're full deck of cards, fully healthy, they'll be this is a different basketball team. They're one of the few damn teams that still got a positive differential. There's only 7 Western Conference teams that have a positive differential ahead of the Suns. So as bad as they've been, they're middle of the pack offense, middle of the pack defense, middle of the pack differential, and they haven't had shit to work with. Damn, I'm sorry, guys.
Look, man,
Get it out.
just like my mother, I love you, Flex, but look, I don't think that they're done or it's over, but I also cannot live in as much optimism as you because I've lived through so many versions of this throughout this.
We all have.
I've
been
been
to I'm older than you.
Yeah, I know.
So I've lived through more than you.
I know, but I don't understand how you have kept this, all right? Because the world beat me down. At one point, I was optimistic like Flex. And the world said, nope, we're not going to let that happen anymore.
Okay.
And I came to the dark side. Okay. And sometimes, it served me well because it's protected my heart many a time. Last year, I got back in. I was like, or 2 years ago, excuse me. I was all back in. 64 wins. Gonna win. This team's great. It's a destiny. And then I got my heart trampled on again. I'm not doing it, Flex. I'm not.
You can be on either end of the spectrum. You could be on the positive side with Flex. You could be on the negative side with Espo. My biggest thing is like whatever your timeline or expectations for this team is, it doesn't change the numbers. And the numbers say they haven't played enough together to be fully optimized yet. So we can revisit this. We can make our rulings on the season a month or 2 from now. But until we actually get those guys out there, we don't know what this team is capable of.
And you know what? To be completely honest with you, if you don't want to sit on either side of the fence, feel free to ride the line and go base day by day at this point. Like, do whatever it is that you got to do to find a way to get through the Sun season and have a little bit of fun with it. If you want to rant one night and be super stoked the next night, more power to you. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to literally day by day this for the rest of the season.
Okay.
I don't care what anybody
That's
says.
fair.
That is your right.
That's fair. Probably the best way to go about it.
I'm not saying it's over. I'm just like, I'm going to be guarded.
You can be pessimistic about this team right now. It's fair. There's more than enough reason to do so, obviously, aside from 3 reps. I needed to write that article and get it out because people needed to see the actual numbers, because it feels like we've gotten more from the big 3 than we actually have just because we've gotten like 2 of them or 1 of them, whatever. They should be better, but honestly, like they're nowhere near their peak yet.
I'm the kombucha girl.
Yo, Eric,
You can kind of get drunk off
can
of
you
it.
put up my man
No.
Dylan K's
The meme.
right there,
Hey, we'll get in.
right there.
What?
I mean, that's where I'm living.
All right. We'll come back. Hold on. Star that chat. We'll come back to it. But everyone was asking what OG's flex is on. That would be the big OGs.
I don't fucking use man.
He doesn't cut it into slices either. It's 100 milligrams at once.
The exact
The
drop.
big OG's gummy. It's a mega version of Peg's Raspberry Orange RSO. It's one of the company's most popular products. It's the perforated into 10 slices, each with 10 milligrams of THC for a total of 100 milligrams of THC. The big OG's gummy. The one that will last you for the entire Suns season.
You want mega optimism? 100 milligrams will get you there.
No. Please use it responsibly. Like, for real.
One slice at a time.
They are sliced for a reason, okay? All jokes aside, to learn more about OG's gummies and where you can find them, head on over to ogsbrands.com. Also, if you have not yet downloaded the DraftKings Sportsbook app, you absolutely should download it because they want to hook you up when you use the code PHNX to sign up. So new customers who use the code PHNX to sign up can bet just $5 on the NFL and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with that code PHNX. The crown is yours.
You want
You're
me to
going
do
to
it?
do it? Hell yeah.
Gambling problem?
Oh, no.
Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877.
Hey, who's moving? Somebody's moving our rundown. I'm in here.
That was me, sorry.
Ah,
Oh no.
I put it back. I put it back.
here we go.
My bad.
What happened to Cookie Monster?
Well, let's try it again.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, ooh, they got good cookies there. In Kansas, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey or basketball or whatever this is for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms and responsibility. Gaming resources. NHL and NHL Shield are registered trademarks of National Hockey League. I don't know why it says that in there. Copyright NHL 2024. All rights reserved.
Get stuffed, Ontario.
Bro, how do you do that to your
That's some
throat?
behind the scenes content
I love
right there.
it. You're recording it.
man. Oh, he got the behind the scenes.
Doesn't
Okay.
even hurt.
Does it hurt?
Not at all.
I feel like that
so
would hurt
funny.
my voice.
That's great stuff.
Okay, somebody's Austin said I thought he was Animal, Cookie Monster, and there's one other sound almost
Whichever
identical.
one.
Like
Whichever
it
one you
all
want.
sounds the same.
Yeah. 100%.
Okay.
Okay, where's that
Great
start,
job, Espo.
start chat? Here we go. So, well, actually, you know what? We have a super chat real quick. Let me do
Go
that
ahead.
one. Psycho Blue sent us another one. Thanks, Psycho Blue. They said, I've been attacked a lot. I have been attacked a lot too. I'm just speaking from personal experience, having been Twitter infamous as well. Much love, KD. Prove all of them wrong.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
too much love will kill Katie. Let him have all the hate. All right?
Yeah.
All right. So Dylan said, Celtics 2 years ago were 20 and 21, then won 30 of the next 40 and went to the finals. So our very own Espo decided to look at some big threes that were brought together via trade or free agency and their success in year one and through 38 games
Yes.
of a full season. So
So
what you
that's
got,
38
Espo?
or 37?
37.
Oh, sorry,
They're the same
37,
amount
my
of
bad.
games the Suns have played. And that Celtics team doesn't count. Not considered a big
I'm putting the
three.
gloves on right now. Me and him
so-
gonna fight about this.
So you know what? I actually built a stairway to NBA heaven using
Okay.
these teams. All right. These are big three teams since 2007 that have been put together. Tier one is the 2007-8 Celtics with KG, Pierce, and Allen. Through 37 games, they were 31-6. They finished 66-16, won the finals. They are the gold standard and the reason why a lot of this big three stuff started. In that tier two is the 2010-11 Heat, LeBron, Wade, Bosch. They started 28-9. in their first 37. They won 58-24, lost in the finals. All right. And then the 2020-21 Nets that KD was a part of started, which was KD, Harden, and Irving, 24-13, 48-24 to end the season, second round exit. All right. So those are the first two tiers. And then tier 3 is where this starts to get interesting. The 2013-14 Nets, KG, Pierce, Joe Johnson. Very similar to the way this team was built. One guy that was had been there, two guys that they traded for that were stars. That Nets team started 15-22 after 37 games, so worse than the Suns. Finished the season at 44-38. Were a second round exit. They're the 2012-13 Clippers, CP3, Griffin, and DeAndre. They started 28-9, so significantly better than the Suns. Finished 56-26 and lost in the first round. The 2011 Knicks to 2011-12 Knicks, Melo, Amari, Tyson Chandler were 18-19, so one game worse than the Suns. Finished 36-30 because this was the shortened season. Lost in the first round as well. And then we get to the bottom of the barrel here, the lowest rung on this staircase. Nash, Dwight, and Kobe started 16-21, finished 45-37, and were a first round loss. Now that tier 1 and the Heat at the top of tier 2 are the only one of these two of these teams that wound up winning titles at any point in it. But that first year, what stood out to me was there were some of these teams in that Nets team in 13-14, the Lakers team with Nash, Dwight, and Kobe, that Knicks team, all had really bad starts, like the Suns. Nobody missed the playoffs. So for all of you sitting there thinking that it's a definite miss, well, guess what? There's even more opportunity to get in than there were when these teams were playing. Stop with they're going to miss the playoffs. History tells you that at least is not likely going to happen, right?
So they're going to make the playoffs. And what you're telling me is there's a chance they will win a championship, but that chance will be next year.
Yeah, well,
the chances are better next year, I think, because you have more time. And that's the biggest thing that I took away, because I also did some digging into these big threes and their starts to the season through 37 games. The 07-08 Boston Celtics, through those first 37 games, got 968 minutes together. The Heat, 882 minutes. The Knicks, 542. The Clippers, 851. The 13-14 Nets, 327. Even the Lakers, who we remember that trio for being banged up and never reaching their potential because they were hurt all the time, even they, through 37 games, got 254 minutes, which is still more than double what the Suns' big three has gotten. So, again, I understand the panic. And if you want to be concerned about that fact that they haven't gotten enough minutes and they're running out of time to do so. But in terms of whether they'll figure it out, whether they have enough pieces or a playmaker who can facilitate offense, like, I don't worry about that stuff as much, because I think if you put those three on the court for more than 6 games and give them a few weeks straight where Vogel can have a set rotation and figure out what pieces to put next to those guys, I really do think they'll be like a lot of these teams and turn things around.
Yeah, I think that's what stood out to me, is that it supports the thought that this team needs time to gel in a lot of cases, in particular the top 3 guys on the roster. That's what this said to me. But can we put the staircase back up real quick? What it also said to me is, looking at this, I think probably best case scenario is you wind up in that tier 2. A second round exit based on the history of it is if you get there, you're actually not in horrible company when you look at it. A Heat team that goes on to play very well, a Nets team that, if there isn't conspiracy theories and strip clubs, probably is still together and having success.
They lost in the second round because they lost to the eventual champs in Game 7 with KD's foot being on the line.
Yeah. So to me, I look at it and I go, okay, maybe I need to have some additional perspective. I know it's championship or bust, but maybe year 1 is the figured out year. And if you catch lightning in a bottle, great. Next year's probably the year that everything is boom or bust, because you know that's your last best chance probably with the contract situations, the second apron, KD getting older. So I'm trying to put it in perspective where I can be a little bit more flexible in the thought that it's not fire and brimstone if it doesn't happen this year. But God, would I like him to be in tier 1 with that Celtics team.
Yeah. We talked about this earlier. I don't subscribe to this has got to get done this year. Never have, never will. I believe it's a 2-year window. You got this year, you got next year. Kevin Durant's 35 years old. We were having a conversation earlier about how long KD's window is. He's playing better than any 35-year-old in the history of the National Basketball Association. Okay? So there's no reason to think he can't do that next year. And Devin Booker is 27. Got Brad Beal's 30. Like, these guys still have a ton of basketball ahead of them. So I agree. I think next year is probably where they'll be in their prime. But I'll also say this. We're doing a show right now, and we're about to be talking more than these guys have played actual minutes this whole season. So just chew on that. This show is going to be longer, probably longer, than our big three has played the entire damn season. If that don't open your eyes to something, then, hey, I don't know what else to say.
Let me ask you, which guy is undefeated, though, all time?
Undefeated?
Yeah.
Father Time.
Father Time.
Father Time, yeah.
And as much as I hate to say it about a guy like KD, that clock is ticking.
It is.
I get that LeBron is proving you can do it into 40, but to put it in perspective, KD's closer to my age than Book's age. Like, I'm 40, and that's just the reality of it. When you don't know when it's going to stop for a guy, he could have it till he's 42, and it could be this great story, or age could catch up to him by the time he's 37. We don't know, and that's the factor that I think is the ticking clock as much as anything, is that and these restrictions that are coming into play this offseason that hurt these apron teams even more. Yeah. Those two things are what worries me about the time.
Yeah, we're not saying just approach this year however, take a lackadaisical, build chemistry. Next year will be the real year. Like, no, it's still this year you want to win a title, because we know all three of these guys have had injury problems this season, and in the past, we know KD and Beal are getting on the older side, and we know, like Espo said, there are severe restrictions in place coming up starting this offseason that will prevent the Suns from having flexibility in trades, buyout market, all kinds of different situations. So building the team will get incrementally harder beyond this season. So they shouldn't just sit back on their heels, but I do think looking at these big threes throughout the past sets a better precedent and sets good expectations for, we need these guys to kind of get to a certain minute threshold before we can take them seriously as title contenders, because that's what we've seen throughout NBA history. And there is this idea in the chat that I've seen a couple times today, is that all three of our guys do the same thing. If the same thing is being able to play, make, shoot, and score at all three levels, you're okay with that.
I'm good with that.
Just because Bradley Beal and Devin Booker play the same position doesn't mean their skill sets can't complement each other. I know people are down on the point book thing, but the lack of a true point guard is probably barely in the top 5 list of their problems right now. What they need is to have Bradley Beal and KD on the court with him long enough so it's not just point book. Yeah. Because point book can work, but if that's your only alternative, that's where you run into trouble. And the whole idea of having Bradley Beal was to give yourself a multiple ball handler attack. They haven't had that. Book has had to reprogram his brain from being a pure scorer to now I got to get other guys involved. And he's struggling with that because this is the first time that he's had to do that on a team with expectations. But if you look at this roster, they don't have anybody on the roster that's a better point guard or facilitator. And you're probably not going to find one on the trade block. It's feeling very unrealistic at this point. So the solution has to come internally, and it has to come with playing Book more off the ball by having those other guys stay healthy.
I got a question. I'm going.
I was just say, you go first, and then I'll address.
I got a question because I'm tired of talking games.
Sure.
I trust your opinion on this. You did the deep dive. What's the number of minutes? Give me the number of minutes that you need to be like, okay, that's enough minutes.
For the whole season?
Yeah.
I mean, at this rate, if we get like 500, 600 somewhere in there, I'll feel better about this.
Okay. Do you know what the max is that we could get this whole season? Roughly?
I don't know what the max is because they would.
Well, yeah, I guess it's
the way they stagger makes it tough. Yeah.
I I got to tell you guys.
I was like, they're not playing a full.
I'm
But
with
the Clippers have gotten, I think in like 25 or 26 games,
500
they've gotten
minutes.
500
Yeah.
and some.
So
So
that's
you
what I'm
need to
thinking.
get like 600 ideally to feel comfortable, I think.
I say this with no disrespect to either of you guys. I just think it's hilarious that we've gone from games played that we need down to minutes. We're like, you know what? I will take 2.5 seconds in a quarter right now. I just need my fix.
We are down bad right now. We're searching for answers.
I need to address two things in the chat. Honcho says, Espo, you ain't healthy enough. Katie is, to be honest, so don't compare. I was not comparing my health. I was just comparing the number of years we've been on the planet.
Yeah.
Just simply saying he's closer to my age than Devin Booker's age. In no way am I comparing KD's fitness to my own. Mine is far superior. And then who else was it? Somebody else came in here and was talking about, Ryan said, my mom needs to get more minutes. And then it called my mom the glue. And then said, Espo's mom and Bobo are like Amari and Nat. My mom can pass. I'll say that for her. So she's a great distributor. So.
There you go. So we already found the answers for you.
I'm in
Right
so
there.
much trouble when I call my
Espo's mom
parents.
and Bobo. They got us covered, you guys. So don't know
The
anything.
thumbnail of our next video is just going to be Espo's mom with like a wild face.
Nope.
You know what you can up for it, Espo?
Hmm.
You can get her new flooring from Empire Today.
There you go.
Honestly, you would be out the doghouse like that if you hooked your mom up with new flooring from Empire Today, because with Empire Today, you get shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, and quick and professional installation. You get brownie points if you use the floor visualizer over at empiretoday.com/PHNX and let your mom pick it out exactly by looking at what the floor will look like in her home. So I'm just saying,
You're vastly overestimating.
if you needed some help getting out of the doghouse, I got your back. And so does Empire Today. And everyone can schedule a free in-home estimate today with Empire Today. And you can also receive a $350 off discount when you use the promo code PHNX. Restrictions do apply, but see empiretoday.com/PHNX for all the details. You could also at least start, like that's the big one, right? But the starting point is bringing home burritos from Burrito Express. Like
Done.
that's like,
I can afford that.
that one is super, that's an easy dub. That'll lead to an even bigger dub, right? Burrito Express, they've got fantastic burritos at multiple Valley locations. So you can always find one close to wherever you live. They support ASU athletics and athletes, and we absolutely love them for that. So check them out. You can grab a burrito and follow them on Twitter at BurritoEXP. All right, guys, we're going to round out today with this little nugget of gold that we got from one Darko Rijakovic.
Players on our team as well. How's possible that Scotty Barnes, who is all-star caliber player in this league, he goes every single time to the rim with force and trying to get to the rim without flopping and not trying to get foul calls. He gets 2 free throws for the whole game. How's that possible? How are you going to explain that to me? They had to win tonight? If that's the case, just let us know so we don't show up for the game. Just give them a win. But that was not fair tonight. And this is not happening first time for us. Scotty Barnes is going to be all-star. He's going to be the face of this league. And what's happening over here during whole season, I've been holding it back. It's a complete crap.
Coach, do you feel like you're getting any explanations at all? That offensive foul, did you see, like, get any explanation?
No, there is no explanation. They just come up there, they review and they see what they want to see. They don't want to hear us, what we got to say. They don't want to hear the players. They don't just want to protect us. Over again, they got 36 free throws, 23 free throws in the fourth quarter. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? How are we supposed to play?
Can I just say, I love Darko so much.
Same.
And you guys, in case you all have either forgotten at this point or didn't realize, Darko was a part of the Suns coaching staff for a hot minute. One of the nicest people you will ever meet in your life. So seeing this come from Darko is like, he was mad. He was big mad. And I absolutely, if I'm a player and this is how my coach responds to a night like they had, I'm running through a damn wall for him. Are you kidding me?
Yep.
He's in love with some Scotty Barnes.
Oh
He
my
loves that kid.
God.
That was great. Well, I think they got outshot. Was it 22-3 or 19-0 in free throws in the fourth quarter by the Lakers? It was a lot.
It was a lot.
That was a
I
poorly
love it.
officiated game.
It's a damn
Yes.
treasure, man.
Yeah.
That guy made my day.
Yes.
He makes me want to go on a rant right now and say 6 damn games. Devin Booker. 6 games. Big 3. 6 games. Take that for dad. I love him. Great job, man. Good for him because we go through it as Suns fans. We have games where we're like, damn, the free throw disparity is crazy, but these coaches, they're worried about getting fined. And he said, the damn to fine. Sticking up for my boys.
Yep.
And I bet you Scotty Barnes picked him up and took him to the biggest steakhouse and said, I love you, coach.
Yep.
I love it.
Well, we got a similar thing from Monty last year when he was like, I'm not going to say any of those, like happy on the farm or anything.
Let him
I'm not going
go.
to say anything.
I think that a lot of
Go
NBA
ahead, Lynn.
coaches across the league, those of which who are affiliated with places like Phoenix, who maybe don't get the respect that they deserve from the officials, should all pitch in and pay that fine.
Agreed.
Because I promise you, for at least 2 weeks, that's going to make a difference.
Agreed.
It'd be hilarious.
At least 2 weeks, that will make a difference
Agreed.
on how games are officiated.
Agreed, Lynch.
If all 29 coaches pitched in equally.
They should.
Even Darvin Ham's like,
Darvin
you know
Ham.
what? I owe you. No, Darvin Ham's like, you know what? I owe
You're not
you.
wrong. He's
You ain't
probably
wrong.
like, you're not wrong, though.
Okay.
Low-key.
I saw when this was going on, ESPN showed a full screen graphic with the free throw differential this year and the top 5 teams in free throw differential. I know we like to complain, but we're plus
Yeah,
we're great
130 in
this
free
year.
throws
We're
this
top
year.
five.
Finally,
Yeah,
So-
we're finally there because we were 28th or 27th last year,
Yeah.
and
So maybe-
Lakers were number 1 by like 100 or 200 more than the
Shut
next
up.
closest
So maybe
team.
we don't want Darko yelling that loud is what I'm trying to say.
Not at us.
Don't fix it unless it's Suns Lakers tomorrow night. Then please fix it.
This is perfect timing, too, guys.
Yeah, that's good for us.
It's good for us. We play the Lakers tomorrow. And so there's going to be a big light on that game because of this. So we might have caught lightning in a bottle. Thank you, sir.
Yes, 100%. Also, I heard that Evan Turner was like throwing shade at Darko about like, if you have an accent, you can't go on a rant like that. Have somebody else do it. Shut up, Evan Turner.
He said you got to
Shut
let
up.
your assistant coaches do the rant when, quote, you have accent, end
Okay.
quote.
I hate that
Like,
too.
bro.
That
Shut up, Evan Turner.
came up with why am I blanking on his name? I've tried to forget that one.
Kokoschko.
Igor Kokoschko.
Yeah.
Thank you. That came up when he got
Time
fired.
out.
That well, I think it might have been because the players didn't understand him. I'm like, this is the
bro.
dumbest stuff ever.
Serious.
Like,
And you got Olympic teams that are coached by all kind of different. Yeah, that's nonsense. Basketball's basketball. They figure it out. They know
You
what they're
knew
saying.
what the F he said. Did you not, Evan Turner?
Yeah.
We all did.
Well,
Don't
hey,
even play.
Evan
some
Turner might not
xenophobic.
be able to listen
I
well.
didn't have beef with Evan Turner on my bingo card for this year.
Now we
but
got it.
apparently,
Yeah. That's not
I needed to
cool.
readjust it
That's
because
not
now we
cool.
got beef.
Hey, at least somebody's remembering who Evan Turner is now. Congratulations, buddy.
Yeah.
And with that, we will say goodbye. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate you for hanging out with us on this Wednesday afternoon. Tomorrow, we will have a pregame show and a postgame show for you. So plan to hang out with us 30 minutes before the game tips off. And of course, you can always give us a follow on social media at PHNX_Suns. You can follow me at Lindsay Smith AZ. You can follow Gerald at Gerald Bourget. You can follow Flex at Flex from Jersey. And you can follow Espo at Espo. Espo, take us home.
Hey, Evan Turner, get stuffed. Ahoy, hoy.
We all silly like the mayor.